Welcome to SSR Pharma Media, your trusted source for pharma knowledge. Pharmaceutical Inorganic Chemistry MCQ series, your exam power boost. Prepare, practice, succeed. So today we are going to discuss about astringent. So under the astringent, so these are all the compounds. Mainly, it's example for astringent: alum, zinc chloride, zinc sulfate, aluminum sulfate. So these are the example of the compounds of astringent. So what is astringent? Astringent or substance that causes contraction, that means shrinkage of the tissues by precipitating protein on the cell surface, leading to reduced secretions and exudations and bleeding. So mainly it is used for minor cuts and wounds. So in order to make the shrinkage of the cells, to stop the bleedings and exudations. And it's mainly the key point we have to consider that it is act by, that means mechanism act by protein precipitation. So astringent's mechanism, how it's acting on the surface of the skin, means act by protein precipitation and reduces inflammations, discharges and minor bleeding, to reduce the minor bleeding, and used externally and occasionally internally. So occasionally internally it's used to some specific compound for during diarrhea. So diarrhea, some minor wounds may happen inside the stomach. So in that case, it's act as a astringent in order to stop the bleedings and exudations inside the stomach. And the inorganic astringents are mostly metal salts. So here there are mainly two astringents: potassium aluminum sulfate, zinc chloride, and zinc sulfate, the three astringent compounds. So these are all the molecular formula for each compounds, and mechanism of this alum is protein precipitation and tissue contraction, that means tissue shrinkage. So and mainly it is used in the mouthwash and stypic and minor bleeding. And zinc chloride is a strong astringent, so caustic in nature. So it is mainly used in the dental preparation and deodorants. And zinc sulfate is a mild astringent. It acts as an antiseptic also. It is used in the eye drops and wound healing. And in the syllabus, B.Pharm syllabus, they mainly given the zinc sulfate and aluminum sulfate. So zinc sulfate is synonymous white vitriol. Aluminum sulfate is alum, is commonly potassium aluminum sulfate. So molecular formula of this compound, and it's assayed by complexometry titration, EDTA used as a titrant. So aluminum sulfate also complexometry titration, EDTA used as a titrant. And its main mechanism is act by protein precipitation and forms protective layer and reduces secretions. So aluminum sulfate also, it is a protein precipitation, tissue contractions and reduce exudation. And uses, it's mainly astringent in eye drops, treatment of conjunctivitis, and mild antiseptic, and zinc supplement also it's used. And aluminum sulfate is astringent in lotions and stypic, controls bleeding and water purifications, and antiperspirant. So we move into the questions. Astringent produce their therapeutic effect mainly by, so option B, precipitating proteins and causing tissue contractions. So astringent act by precipitating proteins on the cell surface, leading tissue contractions and reduction in excretions, exudations and bleedings. The correct molecular formula of alum. So alum means potassium aluminum sulfate. So the answer is option C, KAlSO4 twice and 12H2O. So it is, alum is a double sulfate salt, that means potassium aluminum sulfate. So this is the molecular formula. Zinc chloride is best described pharmacologically as a, so option C, strong astringent and caustic. So zinc chloride is a strong astringent and exhibits caustic action, limiting its topical use. The main action of alum as an astringent is, so option B, protein precipitation causing tissue contractions. So protein precipitation and leading to tissue contractions and hemostasis. Which astringent is classified as a mild astringent with antiseptic action? Option C. So zinc sulfate exhibit mild astringent antiseptic properties, making it suitable for delicate tissues. Zinc sulfate is commonly used in pharmaceutical preparation as option B, eye drops and wound healing agent. So zinc sulfate is used in eye drops and wound healing due to its mild astringent and antiseptic action. Zinc chloride is used in dental preparations primarily due to its, so option B, strong astringent and deodorant property. So zinc chloride, a strong astringent and deodorant properties make it useful in dental preparations through it is caustic. So next is astringent. So astringent is the definitions and is, I think it's again repeating these two compounds. So what white vitriol is the synonym of, option C, aluminum sulfate. So zinc sulfate is commonly called as white vitriol. So answer is wrong. So white vitriol is a zinc sulfate. So here the question is wrong. So there is no option. Zinc sulfate is the answer. So zinc sulfate is the answer. So zinc sulfate is commonly called as white vitriol. So this option is wrong. Question is right. The commonly used hydrated form of zinc sulfate in pharmacy is, so option D, zinc sulfate 7H2O. So zinc sulfate occurs as a heptahydrate. Which reagent gives a white precipitate soluble in excess when added to zinc sulfate solution? So option C, sodium hydroxide. Zinc ion forms zinc hydroxide soluble in excess sodium hydroxide. Aluminum phosphate produces a white gelatinous precipitate with, option B, sodium hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide, aluminum hydroxide is a white gelatinous precipitate soluble in excess alkali. So soluble in excess alkali, that means soluble in excess sodium hydroxide. Which method is commonly used for the assay of zinc sulfate? So option D, complexometric titration. So EDTA is used as a titrant, and EDTA zinc will form the zinc EDTA complex. Aluminum sulfate is assayed by, so option B, complexometric titration. So it forms stable complex with EDTA. Aluminum form stable complex with EDTA. So aluminum EDTA complex will form. Which of the following is a pharmaceutical use of zinc sulfate? So option C, astringent eye drops. So zinc sulfate is widely used in ophthalmic astringent preparation. Which salt is commonly used as a styptic to control minor bleeding? So option B, aluminum sulfate. So aluminum salts have strong styptic, that means astringent action. Astringent action of aluminum sulfate results in, so option C, tissue contractions. So protein precipitation leads to constriction of tissues. The limit tests for heavy metals are important in astringent mainly because, so option C, heavy metals are toxic. So presence of heavy metal can causes toxicity and tissue damage. Which statement about zinc sulfate is true? So option C, it has mild antiseptic and astringent action. So zinc sulfate has mild antiseptic and astringent properties. Protein precipitation by astringent leads to formation of, option B, protective layer on tissues. So astringent forms protective coagulated protein layers. Which pairs is correctly matched? So option C, zinc sulfate and astringent. So it is wrong. This is also wrong. This is also wrong. So this is the correct. Astringent produces their action mainly by, so answer in the comment box. So join in our WhatsApp community. You will get hands-out material. Thank you. Like, subscribe and share.